So Sparkles uploaded a new video where he interviews yet another random cheater, but this time it's some supposedly old-gen, super knowledgeable person that has a ton of valuable insight and will hopefully shatter the veil when it comes to the cheating community. Or he's just gonna yap a bunch and repeat the same old stuff that everyone already knows. That works too. Anyway, at the end of the video, Sparkles says he wanted some answers on how to actually combat the cheating situation, and that there aren't that many solutions since there's way too many different variables. Well, it's actually pretty easy to solve cheating, and in this video, I will give a very simple plan on how Valve could do it that wouldn't require that much effort. First of all, having a kernel mode anti-cheat wouldn't really change things in the long run. Sure, some of the low-tier crappy cheats would no longer work, but by now, most external cheats already operate at kernel or ring 0 level. Then you have DMA cheats, which would bypass that entirely. So no, a kernel mode anti-cheat wouldn't do much. In the long run, it would be useless. And let's be honest, Valve will never do this anyway. It would only really affect the public HVA cheats, which can be solved a different way. Now, let's talk about Vac Net. So Vac Net 3 has actually been fairly good against full-on rage hackers, but pretty useless against closet or legit cheaters. I would start by making Vac Live much more harsh. Currently, if you get Vac Live, you get a 20-hour cooldown, then 14 days, and so on until you reach 180 days. Instead of a slap on the wrist, now after you get Vac Live once, it would not only lower your trust factor, but it would also lead to a permanent ban if you get Vac Lived again. Valve doesn't do this because they're worried about false positives. But let's be real, almost no one is getting Vac Live twice without cheating. And it's not like Valve cares that much about legit players getting banned anyways. Almost 2 years later, Pogu and others are still banned for having high DPI. Aside from changing the punishments, we need to change what VacNet actually looks for and flags. We've all had at least one game where someone was rage hacking while using the Scout or Deagle for the entire game without getting Vac Lived. That's pretty pathetic. So now anyone who gets more than 9 Molbang kills will get automatically flagged and sent to Overwatch. Next, anyone who gets more than 30 kills will be sent to Overwatch. Then, anyone who gets most of their frags with the Scout or Deagle will also be sent to Overwatch. Finally, anyone who consistently wins over 95% of their games will trigger a manual check. So someone will review their account and see if there's any fishy business going on. Most players, even if you 5-stack, will not typically win 95% of their games. And even if you do, there's nothing to worry about if you're actually legit. Okay, so how would Overwatch work then? Clearly, the so-called trusted partners we have now aren't exactly doing a bang-up job. So get rid of them and introduce Overwatch to the public again. The problem is, surely Overwatch will just be flooded with bots again, right? Well, no, since not everyone will have access to Overwatch. The new requirements for Overwatch will be, your account will need to have a phone number linked, mobile authenticator, a recent purchase within the last 30 days, and you'll need at least 1 service medal. This will already greatly lower the amount of bots, but there's more. Only 1 Overwatch case will be given to you every hour, and only after you play a game of Premier or Prime Matchmaking. This would make it so hardly any bots will be able to do cases since they'd have to play competitive. Lastly, Overwatch demos will actually be encrypted, so Wireshark or certain cheats won't be able to see the real names or profiles. So, there it is. I just solved the Overwatch botting issue. Sure, there's still going to be some bad actors or bots, but if you vote against the majority constantly, then your Overwatch access will be removed indefinitely. There still needs to be a few more changes to Overwatch though. First, make all skins default, so people aren't biased or blinded when they see someone with expensive skins. Next, there's no need for 50 people to review the same Overwatch case. If the first 10 people all vote guilty, that should be the end of it. The person should be banned right there, and the case should be closed. The same applies vice versa if everyone votes insufficient evidence. If Overwatch is going to only show 8 rounds like how it did in CSGO, then it should always prioritize the rounds where the suspect gets the most amount of kills. With all these changes to Overwatch, it'll greatly lower the amount of people botting and make sure cheaters actually get banned in a timely manner. As for actually getting to Overwatch, aside from the things I listed earlier, reports will also send people to Overwatch, since cheaters will eventually figure out that getting 30 kills sends them to Overwatch, and they could just stop at 29 kills and just use the AK instead of Scout. So if someone receives 10 reports within 2 or 3 games, then that person will get sent to Overwatch. Of course, to make sure Overwatch isn't flooded with cases, we have to solve the reporting issue as well. People love spamming reports. Even if the enemy is Jesus Christ himself, they'll still report him if they lose an aim battle. So each person will only have a limited amount of reports per day. So you have to actually take your reports seriously, or else you won't be able to report anyone else for the next 24 hours. As for the number of reports, everyone will get 5 reports per day. So if you queue one game and the entire enemy team is cheating, well, either don't play again or just report the most blatant cheater. This would make people less trigger happy about reporting everyone that kills them once. The argument against this would be, CS2 has so many cheaters that 5 reports a day isn't enough. That may be true, and there will be cases where a cheater slips through because someone can't report him, but unfortunately, that's just how it is. Doing all these changes will make cheaters have to actually closet cheat again, since they'll be afraid of getting reported and getting sent to Overwatch. Rage hackers will get banned pretty quickly, and semi-ragers that play monkey blatant wouldn't last long. Most cheaters are silver wallers that stare at the enemies for the entire game, so they'd get banned instantly. The game will still have cheaters since that's inevitable, but it would vastly limit their capabilities and Premier would actually be playable again. Oh, and one last thing I forgot to mention, Overwatch will only be used for Prime accounts, so worthless non-Prime accounts won't be added into the pool and waste everyone's time. Honestly, Valve should just keep non-Prime the cesspit that it already is, and just let cheaters roam free there. Let HVHers and Ragers play there all day without banning them. Valve also needs to stop with the invisible game ban nonsense. For whatever reason, a lot of bans lately don't show up on people's profile. Game bans should always be visible, and it should force someone's profile public and prevent them from changing avatar or name or Steam ID for at least a week, so everyone can laugh at them and they can finally get the attention they so desperately craved.